All right, guys, welcome to Team Call Tuesday. So happy you're here. We are going over the second phase of our launch plan for both Cookies and Cream and 645, and we'll get into that in just a second. But first, there are a few announcements everybody needs to know that are going on. I'm going to mute a few of you. If you're not muting yourself, do it. Okay. So first of all, tonight is the last night to vote for the Beachbody Challenge. So make sure we have till midnight tonight to do that. Make sure if you go in there and take a check. One of my girls, Danny, one of her girls is actually in that challenge and doing very well. So I already put my vote in, but make sure you do that. Go check them out because Summit is around the corner, which I'm so excited about. The last day to register for Summit is today, guys. And if you want and earn 2 points between now or tonight, actually, I think it's the last night, you can be on the body screen when they launch that at Summit to show you. So there's your promo for that, but you have to be registered for Summit by tonight at midnight. The Take Action Challenge is still going on. That's huge, guys. This week is another mixed bike going out. So I want that bike. So I'm definitely filling out my digital tracker. Make sure you're inviting to your challenge groups. And you have to send 10 invites and have one person accept to be entered into that challenge. So make sure you've got a bod group going. Retention points are still going this month. And I'm going to talk really quick about that. June is a slow month. A few of the coaches I've talked to are like stressed out that like it's the 8th of the month and they're not on the board, and I need everybody to take a deep breath. June is always a very slow month. So keep your momentum by staying consistent and doing the behaviors that we know create success. Those are your vital behaviors in your daily tracker. Don't freak out. You still have all month to do it. It's only the 8th. You have to realize people just got out of school and they're finding their lives just as much as we are. So don't freak out. Plenty of time. Just do not quit. Continue to show up and it will happen. Okay. So retention points are still going on this month, mostly because June is a slow month. That's why we usually have Summer Strong going on, which is the sale. Still $20 off all challenge packs. I believe they gave an additional $10 off the 9-week Control Freak pack. And Let's Get Up is still going strong. So guys, you have the tools in your tool belt. You just have to do the shiz, okay? That means show up and do your stuff. Nutrition Plus member benefits are going to start to have a lot more benefits. I need you to just check out the FAQ because we're talking about something totally different tonight. But I was looking at that today. And if you are not a Nutrition Plus member, guys, get on that bandwagon because you're going to miss out on some super cool stuff. July 29th is when they move the preferred customer launch date. So that is official. It's in the back office. We will be converting to that. So read the FAQ if you need help with preferred customers and how that's going to work. New update to bod groups. I feel like there's one every single week, but this one's super rad. You guys all know bod groups are my jam. So I cannot help but tell you how cool it is that there is now a results graph. So when they log their measurements or their weight, they get projected graphs of how they're doing. And that is like a numbers person's like, it makes me very happy because I love numbers and I love to see like, oh, it went up, but it went down, you know, like all the things in a visual. So there you go. Graphs are now in bod groups. And yeah, the biggest thing on the docket is Cookies and Creams launches this month on the 22nd. We are going to talk about that in a minute. And of course, 645. So with 645 under announcements, it was just announced that Thursday night at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific, we will have Amwala on our Diesel Nation call. I'm actually hosting that, so please mark your calendars. That is our super trainer call for Diesel Nation. My team might have a specific one, which of course you guys will all be invited to as well, where we can have a little bit more intimate group. But the big one for Diesel Nation to share with your teams and everybody is this Thursday, super late notice, I'm sorry, but you can invite your prospects or anybody interested in the program and the link is already up in the Diesel Nation Leaders thread. So mark your calendars for that. Anyone who has never earned a Success Club point ever, you're either brand new or someone who comes into the business between now and July 5th. If they get one Success Club point, they get 50% off the 645 access streaming. So that's something they just announced in the roundtable today. So that's huge. If you have someone who signed up last month and they get a Success Club point, guess what? They can get 50% off of that new program when it launches, okay? So I love it. Anyone that purchases a challenge pack in June also gets 50% off. So one other thing that was announced in the roundtable, sorry for all the announcements, and sometimes I feel like these should be on a PowerPoint, but we literally just got off this call, is they're going to be doing what they call the 645 commitment. It's something we've never done with another program before. Anyone that follows through in the 13 weeks, we know it's a longer program. We know you guys are going to hopefully stick it out, but maybe feel like that could be a little daunting because we're used to shorter programs, but don't. Results are made over time. This is not a destination, it's a journey. So a 13-week program should not freak you out. It may intimidate our customers. However, corporate noticed that in the feedback, and anybody that submits via the tracker their Shakeology, because they have to commit to the total solution, or their performance line, as well as a selfie or log their workout, will get $45 back when they complete it. So it's kind of like our Health Bet twist. If they log all that, corporate is going to send them $45 because of the program, $645, back when they complete it with their t-shirt. So super cool, something we've never done before. So that is also gives you something else to talk about. When have you ever gotten paid to work out? Even our customers can do that now. So awesome, awesome job. The only two people on for recognition today, because it's still the beginning of the month and everybody's hustling, is just Maddie and Alan. So great job, guys. Killing it there with 2 points on the board. And keep going. Everybody else will be on next week. No big deal. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to move right into this. Please, guys, if you have questions, you've got to talk to me, or Fran, or drop it in the chat, or Jeanette, or whatever. We have to be vocal because we work through a lot of this together. Cookies and Cream stories are out if you purchase the Mompreneur package, or know someone who does. I'm not technically supposed to say that, but there are some out there. I was just talking to Fran today about it, and they're really Oreo based, and my team was able to sample Cookies and Cream over the weekend, and it tastes nothing like Oreos. It does taste like cookies, but it's like chocolate chip cookies and milk. So I suggest, if you're going to use stories, don't focus on an Oreo feel of Cookies and Cream. Okay, so for those that are following our launch guide that we put up this week, we should be talking about Shakeology in our stories. Put it in a different cup each day. I talk about a different ingredient. That one light is terrible down my face, sorry. Talk about a different ingredient that's in Shakeology. Remember that it's been completely reformulated. So this was something I talked about on a quick video we made. They upped the Coagulous Bacillus probiotic, which is my jam, okay, up by like 2 million parts. So that is huge, huge gut health stuff we need to be talking about, right? They increase the omegas and a ton of other stuff in there. That's what you need to be talking about, instead of just being like, yay, I drank my shake today on your stories. Talk about the benefits and how we're reformulating, and we are always innovative in this business. We understand that right now we need better gut health. We understand we're in a pandemic, and the way to keep a healthy gut is through probiotic, and when you keep a healthy gut, you fend off all sorts of viruses, right? You can't say it cures corona or cancer or anything, so be careful there, but talk about what a good gut health does, right? And that we reformulate. We know when we fall short and we quickly pivot and make up the difference, which is why I love this company. Hands down, it's the best, right? So talk about that. Make sure you're talking about it in your challenge groups, not just on your stories. Make a post on your social media, whatever you feel drawn to do passion-wise as far as the new flavor. The fact that it's not seasonal is something I want to shout from the rooftops. Like, how cool is that? So make sure you're talking about it. Okay, so we'll share screen and we'll get into 6:45. So sometimes I cannot see the chat, so let me see if I can get this where I can see it. Hopefully you guys can see the screen. I shall make it big for you. Okay. So leveraging the launch, we went over it. You guys should know the details of the program by now. It's 13 weeks long, 45 minutes a day, 6 days a week, functional training focused on stability and mobility. Okay, they're just put up today in the back office, a 3-part launch guide. Every single thing you need to launch this program is back there. We're just going to reiterate it for the next 5 weeks and break it down for you so that it doesn't feel overwhelming to do all at once, right? This is the breadcrumbing part of the business that is really good to get good at, because when you can learn to leverage a launch, you can find massive success in your business. If you notice, Emily Falver moved her business like to 10-star diamond with the launch of 80 Day Obsession and those kind of things. So I tell you that because you are coming into a launch where you can do the same. It doesn't matter what program you're doing if you launch it correctly. So last week, your homework was to set up a link tree or of the like type of links that you can add to your Instagram, as well as create your Google Forms so that you can track responses from your stories, from your emails, wherever you put those Google Forms. And you should have made 2, one for 6:45 and one cookies and cream. So I'm not going to call anybody out on the rug here. You are the CEO. If you didn't do it, I would do that ASAP, because you're missing the chance at creating more interest around the launch, right? So that was last week. Hopefully everybody got that done. If you still need help, please reach out. I don't care whose team you're on. I'm happy to help you. I know Fran is as well. We work together. We are one team. If this is something you need a copy of the form so you can just make it your own, awesome. But a closed mouth does not get fed, so we don't know what you need unless you tell us. So that brings us to 4 weeks out, which is where we're at right now. What we need to be doing is breadcrumbing about our programs, specifically Amwala programs, right? Always be adding value. And when you have a past program like the work or the prep, it is super important to know that this type of program that we're heading into for 6:45 is very different. When I say it's functional training, there is an incorporated 10 to 15 minute warm up in every single workout. That means we don't just get warm really quick with a few high knees and a few stretches. Like almost a quarter of the workout, at least a third, is warm up, stretching, working on form and mobility, right? So those are things you want to be talking about. Last week we mentioned if you've ever suffered from like a sports injury, how mobility and form can actually correct past injuries, right? So those are things you want to be talking about. You want to kind of be using creative marketing and curiosity marketing and start talking about intermittent fasting. Sorry, squirrel brain, I gotta find whoever's unmuted because I just can't do both. So those are things that you are definitely going to want to be talking about so that it's not a shock when we say, oh, intermittent fasting is actually going to launch in the UPF program first to Nutrition Plus members, I believe. Now I really can't. Can everybody mute themselves? I'm trying to scroll through and I can't see who it is because I've also sharing screen. But I honestly can't do both. I'm sorry. It's just me. So actually the, Walkie, will you mute yourself, baby? The intermittent fasting is going to launch to Nutrition Plus members first under the UPF. After that, it will be in our nutrition center, and they're shooting for 2 weeks before launch, which would be like in a week. So until we hear directly on that, just make sure that you continue to check your nutrition center to see when it launches. I'm sure they'll let us know, but I'm a freak and will check every single day till I see it. So talk about our community, right? Get together with people around you. Do a workout. It doesn't have to be 6:45, but talk about how we're going to support you through the program. It's going to be new for all of us. We will all be in a test group phase when this program launches, right? So that is something you need to talk about, but also add value. And I want you to go talk about the personal insights from past programs that you've done with Amala, like the 640, or I mean, the work or the prep. If you haven't done one of his programs, please guys go pick one and do it tomorrow so you can at least relate and talk about him as a trainer, right? Because he is hilarious. There is so much. He sings through all these programs we've been doing the last 10, this is week 11 of the program. And he continues to push us past plateaus, which is reaching our peak. And we talk about that. There is so much in the back office right now about the sizzle video. They're actually going to be coming out with another sizzle video. That's kind of on the down low, but in the next week or two, we should have sizzle video number 2, so you can make it into stories. Like, get creative. So talk about the benefits of the community. So this week, this is what you're kind of building off of last week. So you're still going to come back here and talk about all these things: training, peak performance, were you an athlete, were you a runner, all the different things. You can highlight things about attitude, commitment, everything that you were working on last week. And why I'm recapping it is because there's a lot of people on this week that weren't on last week. But don't worry, I can share these slides with you. I have it on my fridge, actually. That way I'm like, what do I need to post about today? When I walk by the fridge, I'm like, right now I'm going to talk about attitude. Walk by again, I'm going to talk about effort, right? Those kind of things. So you're going to build on it and add in your cookies and cream Shakeology stuff. But Google Amwala Caesar. Guys, if you haven't done that, don't feel like, oh, he's just a Beachbody trainer, right? He has like 3 different certifications from NASM and NIDA and 3 different certs for his personal trainers, which is huge because he only needs 1, but he's so passionate about what he does. He went back and continued his education multiple times with different, sports and medicine accolades. So that's huge. That's probably why he trains professionals. Okay, he gets paid the big bucks to do so. So those are things. Go in there, Google that, make some stories. Don't just talk about it there. Talk about how you're excited that you work with a company that pairs with the best of the best, right? So that's how you can add value, is talking about the trainer himself and what he brings to the table. And part of me is not just going to give you those bullet points because, I totally had them written out and then I went, no, I want you to do the research. I want you to do it because then you'll know it. So when you talk about it to your prospects and future clients, you are literally talking from the heart, not from my PDF, okay? So continue to track your responses from your stories and your polls. And you need to make daily posts this week about functional training and what that is. And really quickly, if you're like, okay, I'll Google it, but what is it? Functional training is things you do in your daily life, when you lift correctly, using correct form in the gym, it translates to you when you need to lift a bag of dog food, or when you need to do something in your normal life that requires a specific lift. You're not throwing your body out of whack and you're preventing injury. That's typically what functional training is. So often we do not utilize enough mobility, which is like our foam rolling, right? Different stretches that are under, it's like under pressure, right? Under tension is what it's called, like in the ankles and in the joints. We don't do that enough, and that's how we prevent injury. So when you're doing that with your mobility, that's considered functional training. Same thing with stability. You're going to see what we call like a lot of farmer carries in this program, where you are bearing heavy weight and you're just walking to simulate if you're carrying a child. It's perfect, like for moms. Or if you have to carry all your groceries in and you're like me and you put 57 bags up your arms, right? Because you only want to make one trip. Those are the type of functional training things you're going to learn in this program to help protect yourself from injury. It's absolutely phenomenal. So that is pretty much week 2 kind of summed up. We are continuing to just talk about the trainer this week on top of everything else. Now, I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed. So I'm giving you bits and pieces, because last week you had a lot to talk about. So my thing is I would love for you guys, now you can unmute and talk, like, how did it go? Did we get our forms created? Are we having trouble with Linktree? Did you guys figure that out? And after all of that, did you have enough time to go back in and maybe do a post about or talk about any of the things that we talked about, right? Like training to a peak performance or previous injuries, any of the things we did. Because I did check some of my coaches and I was actually pretty impressed. They did what I said. Kristen, you are okay. Kristen is kind of crazy busy. She's telling on herself, she says. So please unmute or drop it in the chat or talk to me like, hey, I need more info on to be better versed in, right? Like this is where I can help you. We can help you. Fran did an amazing job. I hope you guys are all snooping her stuff. She talked about all of the above. And intermittent fasting.
I tried. If Katrina says it, it's gonna work. And sure enough, like the interest has been amazing. Guys, even if it's the simplest of Google Forms, to me, that is priceless. That does not take place of conversation, because I know when I was a new coach, I thought that. And so I'm like, just send the form. No, I want that person to feel like a person. But those Google Forms are super, super simple and makes your life so much easier for a couple of reasons. One, it asks the questions that you want, at least just very simple questions. I always ask follow-up questions, of course, but it asks very basic questions so you get to know the person you're talking to. And number 2, you get their email. And to me, email is gold. Even if for whatever reason they don't follow through, they get things from me on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, really. So if you haven't done your Google form, that is step 1. You want that already. I already have people talking about interest for 645 and as well as the cookies and cream non-Oreo Shakeology. So I highly, highly recommend that. I know, Katrina, you said it doesn't taste like Oreo. I'm like, okay, so what does it taste like? So yeah, I'm actually very excited because every single person that's tested that Shakeology, that flavor, has said amazing things. One more thing I do want to mention, I know because I suffered from this, and every once I fall into this trap. And Katrina, I think you said it last week. I don't care if you post about it, whether it's talking about challenge groups, whether it's talking about, functional training, whether it's talking, it doesn't matter. You should be posting about it in different ways, of course, but saying the same thing over and over. You should be nauseous about how many times, especially as we get closer, how many times we talk about functional training, how many times we talk about, the time, I was going to say time nutrition, for the love of God, there's too many nutritions, which, by the way, Katrina, I'm very much looking forward to that training. I know Autumn always does an amazing job. I'm like already like stressed out, but I love it because when I stress out about something like that, it puts me in the role of the client. So I want to make sure that I really learn the ins and outs of the nutrition. By the way, I think you mentioned it, but now I don't remember. I'm assuming they're going to present the three different nutrition plans, or is Kim going to talk about that in the call?
Yes, so Amala will talk about it as well on Thursday night and how it's
Yeah.
I think it's getting introduced because that's all he does. Like, he is a huge
Right.
intermittent faster. He believes in it. We've had multiple conversations on this. Like, if you're gonna do it, you don't start with 16 and 8. So like, one of the polls on my story was, for all my intermittent fasters, what is your fasting window? Those people obviously blew up the poll, right? And then it's like, oh, when you share those answers, other people get an idea of what you're talking about. And you're like, guess what? We are introducing a safe way
Oh.
intermittent fast into our Beachbody regimen, something you will get as an added value that will come with every single challenge pack, right? I talk just like I'm talking to you over my stories, and people are very interested in that, right? And then you have your people that are like, well, I fast for 18 and 6. And, we have talked about safe windows of fasting. We would never start anybody that way. Like 12 and 12 is a normal starting spot, because most of that time is sleep. Like for me, this last week 10, we did 12 hours of fasting. So we didn't eat after 7 p.m., which is what we teach you in 2B Mindset anyway. Dinner and done. You don't eat after dinner. So dinner was done by 7 and you didn't eat till 7 a.m., right? That's 12 hours. It's not difficult, but it's the vocabulary and the language that we use, because we have to educate our following, right? And it being one more thing that they'll get to learn and add in is huge, right? Because the challenge pack is still the same price. So I think it will be good. He'll talk about it a little bit on Thursday, but there will be a whole roundtable training. And like I said, they're going to offer it to Nutrition Plus members first. That's why if you're not a member there, guys, like for the extra $14 a month, do it. You get extra things in there anyways.
100%.
Close the door 'cause I can't.
And I mean, I know not everyone can relate to this, but I have a huge menopausal older women following. And the number one thing that I'm always asked, challengers, previous challengers, as well as, future, have always told me, well, do you have something specific for menopause? Which it makes me laugh, because I'm like, it's, if you're just if you eat healthy, but when you get to my age, it gets that much more difficult. And if of all the things that I have read, intermittent fasting has been the most beneficial for women in those older age brackets, going through that special change like people like to talk about. So my point is not necessarily talk about menopause. My point is talk about why these nutrition programs, specifically you particularly, how that has affected you, why those have made such a big change in your life, and your story. At the end of the day, every time I go on there in stories and just talk, like if I'm talking to Katrina, because I know sometimes we get a little squirmish with, talking on stories. I literally just sit there, I press the handheld whatever, and I just talk like I'm talking to Katrina. Conversation, like not super rehearsed or anything. I sometimes sound like an idiot, but that's part of the charm, I hope. And I think that that's what allows people to connect with you.
Absolutely. And it is true, like what I have gotten a lot of, I market it this way, right? But I've got a lot of feedback on, and people who are like, okay, I've watched this long enough, it's obviously working, is I pound home that it's not a one size fits all program. We have so many different ways, whether it's carb cycling, just on the nutrition aside, but then not only are they getting someone who makes over $500 an hour to train athletes, not only are they getting his 13-week program, like I'm just like, add that up, right? Of what that would cost you at $500 a day, 6 days a week for 13 weeks. Add that up, and that's one value. But they're also going to get all the other 700 whatever programs in our library. If you're not talking about that every single day in your stories, you need to be. And you need to be so bored of yourself that you're like, here I go again, talking about it. But as we add more eyes to, our content, they didn't hear it yesterday, they didn't hear it Monday. So continue to drive it home. Another one this week that you're working on, if you look at your homework down here, by the way, I always tell you guys to screenshot it in the beginning, so if I didn't, please do that, is the results from the program. So by tomorrow, before and afters of the very first pilot test group should be up in the launch guide in the back office. You can use any progress photos of mine, and I will gather for our Google Doc from the Diesel Nation test group that we have. I have the girls dropping them in there, but let's let go of 645 for a second. You can use the prep, the work, which most of you have a transformation of your own from one of those, and talk about the last time you did that program with him and how excited you are to come back. Like my last set of stories with Amala was, we're back. Last time we were pull-ups and push-ups and off the hook, like military style training. And now we're scaling it back. We're deloading, which is a specific week in every phase of this program. So that word's huge. We're deloading and focusing more on functional training, right? And all functional training is a slower pace, more methodical, right? More form. He uses form check a lot. So start typing that out over your workout clips. So these are things that should be going on in your everyday stuff, right? Not just you drinking your Energize. Take one move of the day of whatever program you're doing and put a poll on it, or ask if they got their workout in today, right? Like you have to kind of breadcrumb all parts of what we do in this business, not just 645, so that when you do drop 645, people are already paying attention, okay? And I know that your guys are like, well, we don't know a lot about it yet. Well, Thursday, you're going to speak to the trainer himself, and you're going to use me as a resource on these calls on Tuesday. And if you aren't taking notes or rewatching the replays just to pick up the lingo, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? We're going to talk about form. We're going to talk about, I don't know if you noticed on all of the ad copy and graphics that they're doing, everything he talks about is like your body in 90-degree angles, which is a total personal trainer thing. I'm sure it's a physical therapist thing as well. That is what form is. We never want to hyperextend, right? Or move our body that is not in a traditional form. We talk about the planes of the body, the sagittal plane. Like these are things you need to Google words. Just, you can Google Amala, all that's going to come up when you Google him. How personal training terms, those kind of things. Intermittent fasting terms, those are things I've just been Googling. Like instead of scrolling Instagram for reels, I'm trying to work my lingo on how I'm going to sound educated when I try to present this program to my other personal trainers, right? So with that, this week, guys, it's not on here. I mean, you've got track your responses. That's all from last year or last week. I need you guys to formulate a newsletter. Now that you have your Google Doc, you have it posted on your Linktree on Instagram by now. Now we're going to send an email. And if you don't have Flowdesk or you don't use MailChimp or whatever all the different ones are, that's fine. You can do that right in your back office, right? In your Coach Online office, type up a generic email where you can cut and paste, because you need to be talking to a few people right now. Everybody's subscriptions that are coming due needs to have some sort of newsletter that's talking about cookies and cream because they may want to switch their flavor. Anybody who's inactive will want to come back on board with a new flavor. And by sending a newsletter, you can put in a blurb of, and there's a really awesome new program coming out that I would love to get you more info on, and you paste your Google Doc link right there and say, fill out this link so I can keep you updated with everything that's coming out. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be in a Canva or in a Flowdesk, but you can do that and batch it out of your back office, right? You can send it to every single customer and coach in your back office with like 2 clicks. Type it up, put it in there, send it out. So that's like your homework this week, because you need to be gathering all those pre-orders for cookies and cream last week, not to overwhelm you, but you should have started that a long time ago when that was first announced on May 19th. It should have been showing up and coming. So it's okay. Nobody's behind. We start now, we move forward, and we start doing the things that are income producing activities, which are creating FOMO about our new flavor and our new program. Okay, so now you have a ton of homework. We're going to post results all this week, not just Tuesday, because Transformation Tuesday. They need to be every single day from one of his programs, right? You can Google them. They're on Google. They're in the back office now for 645 specifically, but also any one of his programs, okay? The prep, the work, ones of yourself, ones of your friends. Don't feel like, oh, I posted too many of those. Never, never, never. That's what talks, right? Is the change, the transformation. So does anybody have any questions? You guys are all quiet.
I don't see any in the chat. Hold on. No.
We can totally post. Yes, Julia, we can post them in a thread on the, oh, Kristen, I'm sorry. We can post them in a thread in there, but right now there is, check out the launch guide in the back office. If you haven't already, there should be transformation photos in there for 645 specifically. And like I said, I can get everything from start to week 11 from our Diesel Nation thread and share with you guys. And if there's anything else, like you need to just talk Amala, talk everything about him. You guys are so quiet.
I think we are good to go. Trying to make sure that we didn't forget anything.
Oh, yeah. So next week, we're going to really be talking about the actual offer. We got pricing and everything in the roundtable today and how that's going to work. Talk about that commit to 645, right? About getting $45 back just for completing a program, for putting skin in the game and showing up for yourself. You can make your money back. I think that's pretty rad. Let me see what other if there's any other little highlights from that call. The champs page, Amala's going to be taking over that the whole week because we have a lot to go over with this program. June 21st through 25th, all those days he's going to be in the champions page, following up with a live on Coach 411, and on the 5th, obviously he'll be on the National Wake Up Call. In the toolkit in the back office is the 3-step launch plan, the product training guide, all your pre-order commitments, the cool Zoom backgrounds, your sizzle videos. So you want to look under the toolkit in the back. Everything's there, and it will show you the challenge pack, the cool new bands, right? You're getting new, I talked about that last week. You are getting a new piece of equipment, which are the power bands. They're cloth, they're beautiful. I love mine. No more sliding, rolling up like the 80-day obsession bands, like no, real bands. And so there's all visuals of that in the back office, okay?
I'm so excited.
You guys don't really need to know. It will come with Spotify playlists. And the bonus workouts are only going to be available to Nutrition Plus members. So once again, they're really pushing Nutrition Plus. And remember, Nutrition Plus is going to transfer into the new body platform. So that is what you need. You need Nutrition Plus. The price of the program is going to be our traditional $160. That's with the $20 off, okay? Because it's a summer sale. That's why challenge packs right now are $140 or regular one bought, but $645 is going to be $160. The bonus workouts are kind of cool. I'm excited to see because we have not used a pull-up bar once in this program, and the bonus workouts do include a pull-up bar, things on the pull-up bar, so that's cool. There will be a form check test, which is what we did in the very beginning of this. So it'll be just like his fit test for the work, but it'll be checking your form because if you are, I talked about this yesterday in my stories, if you are hamstring dominant, your quads tend to get way more sore, which means you need to foam roll your hamstrings so that you can build your quads. So it's like the opposite muscle is what you actually need to stretch and loosen in order to build the other muscle, right? So those are always knowing your muscle groups and how they work simultaneously. And that is all gone over in the very beginning of the program with the form check. And another awesome thing about, because I'm a volume freak, and I'll let you guys go, is typically our challenge pack comes in at 135 on the volume scale, and they kicked it up for us. It's 150. Guys, I've been pushing that our challenge packs not be discounted in volume for a very long time. I preach that because I'm like, when you make more selling them separate, why, But they did give us a 15-point volume boost on that. So I'm thankful for it. Okay, completion pack is going to come in at 130 and regular pack at 160. So those are a whole bunch of crap load of knowledge you guys can talk about on your stories this week. Don't forget to tune in Thursday with the trainer himself, and I'll see you next Tuesday for presenting the offer through social media. Anything else, Fran, you want to add?
Uh-oh, I think you're losing connectivity.
Of course.
That's okay, Katrina.
It's telling me we've had enough of you.
You might have to go to Brad's truck.
Normal.
For good connect. Oh gosh. Last but not least, you're going in and out. What are the costs for the challenge packs? I think she said it was $160. You guys, I have the worst memory, but I know that whenever they put up the promotional, they're going to go ahead and, oh, good. You put it in there, Katrina. Awesome. So I guess she can do the chat. She just can't actually chat. When you do, oh, you're there. Are you there? Anyway, the pre-order forms, whenever they upload that, usually already has the different pricing, and you're going to start seeing all of the graphics that I'm sure Diesel Nation and everybody else is going to have all the graphics with different packaging options. So be on the lookout for that. Right now, just get everybody with the cookies and cream. You really want, I don't know if you guys know this, many of you do, but we've got some newbies in here. You can send mass emails to your current clients right through the Beachbody Back online office. So you're going to want to do that and tell them about cookies and creams at the very least. If not, at least send them a little newsletter of sorts. Anything else, Katrina?
No, I think that's it.
Yay, we got this. All right,
Alright.
thank you, Katrina. I know that Jeanette's also working on a little, like a little, what do you call it? A little posting calendar, whatnot. So we'll obviously be sharing that as well, just to keep us on our toes. And in the meantime, guys, have a beautiful evening. And thank you guys so much for coming tonight.
Let's take a picture.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. Yes.
I took one if you need.
Oh, good.
Kelly, she remembers.
Thank you,
1, 2,
Katrina, so
3.
much for everything.
Oh my gosh, my friend. It's no worries. Sometimes it's jumbled, but I hope I get it all out there to you. Just roll with it.
You do, you do. We appreciate you.
Okay, we'll see you
Always.
Thursday, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank
Love
you.
my friend. Bye.